Good afternoon, everyone. The unthinkable: 3 catastrophic imminent dam collapse warnings in 2 days. North Carolina, Tennessee. Are we being told the whole story about our infrastructure, how robust it is? Also, I had a chance to talk with the TVA about the flooding down through Knoxville, what we can expect from there. Let's look into it. And from yesterday's video, taking a look at the Shenandoah River gauges, broke the record back to 1791. Now, the anticipated was 27 feet, and that was a forward-looking forecast. And as we come into today, 26.1. So they were pretty close to being on the money there. Also, there's an interactive where you can follow all the flood gauges. I linked that in the description box below, along with the river flows, the back trace of the rivers, and the USGS interactives on this. So that map there, anywhere you see that dark purple on the left, those squares, that's catastrophic flooding. So we broke that record by a full 6 feet, not a few inches. That is something to really take a look at. And as these dams were overtopping and the vast amount of water was coming down, this is going through neighborhoods and, places that you wouldn't think flooding was possible, rooftop depths. There's an enormous amount more images coming now that they have electricity and people are getting back online again a little bit. This is a place called Chimney Rock, cool little hiking area. Chimney Rock before, Chimney Rock after. That much water came down to literally scour a town out of the mountains. We're not being told something about our dam infrastructure here in the United States. Because looking at this is after it's sunny today, and the rivers are way down and very nice and tame. This is how big and raging they still are. They were little streams. Imminent dam failure, Lake Lure. So the warnings went out, and they're like, this is going to be an absolute catastrophic failure, flash flood emergency. So anywhere along that red was the river tributary that they were looking for this dam to actually break and that to come down. Now, the wall of water in the beginning would have been much higher, and as it could dissipate and spread, it would, come down substantially, but still the force of that. So what you're looking at, this is Lake Lure. Okay, so on the spillways, you have 3 of those, but what's the extra water gushing from the right side? That is the eroded hillside where the water was spilling out and around, and that's why I thought it was coming to imminent collapse. Now, the amount of water that they did have to spill and that did come over uncontrolled still sent this much debris and just wiped bridges away. This is going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars to clean up. I mean, the infrastructure damage itself, the insurance claims, everything else beyond this it's really mind-boggling that this much damage was done. And if we're looking at the Watauga River, and this is absolutely going to set records for the absolute height of this lake that was flowing in. So this is going to be tremendous in itself. And the flows, as you can see through some of these and many of these towns, I'm just going to say this is the average view of the floods coming down through North Carolina and Tennessee. Average view. Some of them are far greater, where you're up to the second floor, into the second story of the floods. Bank of America said, do what central banks are doing, buy gold. Gold is up 20% in 2024. The tech-heavy AI-driven NASDAQ only 17%. Reports coming out of a Samsung solid-state battery breakthrough sent silver skyrocketing. JP Morgan forecasts silver to surpass $36 an ounce in 2025. And Patriot Gold Group has an OP for Life IRA, where your IRA or 401k could be in physical gold or silver. No fee for Life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Give them a call, 888-546-7020. And now on with the video. So if we're looking over here in Tennessee, Newport, Tennessee, absolutely inundated. Waterville Dam, they call it Walters Dam sometimes, but Waterville Dam is what you're looking for. Again, the stream flow, you're going from the bottom and it's flowing downhill. So the bottom is actually where the dam break is, going up to the top of your screen there. That's going to be running into Douglas Lake. We'll cover that in a second. Again, Waterville Dam, catastrophic failure, evacuation, Newport, immediate. The dam didn't even actually break completely, but this is in a neighborhood. This is the floodwaters going through neighborhoods here. And as you look at it, and you have to think about what would you do in those split seconds as that was happening they're just screaming for help. This is coming up so fast, that is terrifying. So many people were trapped on the hospital. They had to go helicopter flight to get in there and evacuate. There was massive evacuations, and National Guard pulling this one off, Unicoi. And as that rolled downstream, there's just so many roads that are out and interstate highways. Tremendous flooding. And how long will this take to fix? This is an interstate. So TDOT, or Tennessee Department of Transportation, putting this one out. I-40 East, that is a major thoroughfare. That is one of the largest interstates in America, going east and west. Completely closed, and you should see the erosion in North Carolina as well. I-26, interstate, not country road, county road, state road, full-on national interstate, gone. Now this is off of I-40 looking as you would, if you're going to go to Saluda, for example, all that construction that was heading there coming in through North Carolina. This is the view of the interstate. This is off of I-40 actually looking down. And I-40 itself in North Carolina, that's the washed away lane. That's going to take a long time to fix. So if we're looking at tremendous strikes on the East Coast, Gulf Coast for port workers, and now we're looking at tremendous amounts of delays coming across South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. And here's a road closure map. Talk to the State Patrol as well. 400 road closures so far, and that's in North Carolina. And as we go over to Tennessee Highway Patrol, those are hay bales that have overrun and landed on top of railroad tracks. And thank you so much over those last couple of videos, bringing up 10,000 followers over on X. Now, at the same time as I was digging through a lot of feeds, I came across the TVA, that's the Tennessee Valley Authority, and props and absolute respect for these guys for taking my call and talking to me like a professional on the phone instead of obfuscating and then hanging up. Thank you for talking to me. So I saw their update on this, and the river gauges and the flood gauges were coming up. Anywhere green is rising. So you can see where they're flowing into a massive amount of lakes here. We got, Watts Bar, Lake Douglas, Cherokee. Now all these are, coming into flood stage. Further afield, you can see where anything off the drainage there is massive, especially that yellow down toward the east and a little bit wider. Putting those two together, you can see where anywhere is green is flooding and massive inflows off of the mountains into these lakes. I had a chance to go to USGS. This is Streamer, so you can trace downstream or upstream. Also, I linked that in the description box below so you can follow and do your own. So I was wondering about, Knoxville. We're going to get a confluence of rivers down in Knoxville. So what you're looking at is Douglas Lake, and that's where Newport was, and all that massive, tremendous 200-year floodwater is rushed into this lake at the same time. This is cubic feet per second. Douglas Lake. Now this is the forecast of what the inflow is. Look at that, 183,000 cubic feet per second. Now they're trying to push this water out and allow it to move. Now in perspective, the average for Douglas Lake on a daily is 6,000 cubic feet per second. They're going to ramp that up to 74,000 cubic feet per second on the outflow. And then he told me the way that they were doing it, they're opening all of everything down the entire chain of controlled outflows to make it more as a water pipe was the best way to explain it. Now for up here, Cherokee also, that's going to flow through Knoxville at the same time. And it's not such the large amount of water coming through cubic feet per second, but from 400 to 5,000, that's a pretty large jump in itself. And if we look over here at Fort Loudon, which would also be another large one, right near Knoxville here, average is about 20,000 cubic feet per second on a daily average, and then we're looking over at 80,000 cubic feet outflow. Which brings me down lastly to the Nolichucky Dam, where right near Greenville, Tennessee, the critical infrastructure failed again. What you notice is exactly the same. The same area that was in the previous dams that we saw the breakthrough, it always seems to be on that same side of the dam. Is it because they have the power generation on the other side through just a standard model? I'm not sure. But again, imminent failure, absolute evacuation in seconds. You're looking for 20, 30 feet walls of water to come rolling through your town, put out across ham networks, and you can see how that breached as well, scoured away the rock. Huge amounts of water still pour down, uncontrolled, and it is slowly dissipating off the lake. But here's the thing, they lost data off of that. There was no communication with the river gauge at that point. So if you're going to follow the trajectory, I'm going to say, just as a betting guy, that's off the chart. Literally, that has popped up and over off the chart. New record absolutely set there, but it's an unknown because they lost communication with the station. And if we're looking at Stevens Creek as well, that's a new record set. But anywhere that you're looking at the purples, again, a catastrophic flooding, and it's just everywhere all at once. And that is the strangest thing, that our infrastructure is unable to hold. And here's another example. Water superintendent in Greenville says their station is completely underwater, and the reservoir only has 2 days worth of normal usage. Citizens are asked to conserve water. I mean, their entire water plant is underwater itself. Like, they're going to have to wait for that drain out, fix all the damage. And imagine about the silt and the different kind of river debris that's in there that'll have to be cleaned out. That's what I say. I'm really wondering what's happening with our infrastructure here. At once in a 200-year storm was able to do that much damage. We're anticipating once in a 400 or once in a 2,000-year event coming up here through the end of the month, especially in October when we get toward the end, when four gas giants are in a square perceived from Earth, and then we have the sun, and the Earth's going to roll through two potential toroid magnetic fields. How's that disturbing? Are we in the beginning phase of it, and this is why we're seeing the ramp-ups in this much waterfall and flow already? What is going on? This is unacceptable to be in the United States with our infrastructure failing this much, this rapidly. We're not being told the whole truth here, is all I'm saying. You might want to do your own research, come up with your own conclusions. If you do, please put it in the comment box below the video. I'm going to continue to bring you updates. Talked with the Tennessee Department of Transportation. They gave me a whole bevy of maps, washed away roads that people should stay off of. I'll bring that to you in the next video. It would just be like an hour long if I tried to get all the info in here. So stay tuned. Join me for the next vid. Make sure you sign up for the Civilization Cycle podcast and the Adapt 2030 channel through all of the videos, especially Rumble and BitChute. See you next time. Bye for now.